Y'all, so I usually do my Bonnet Bay content from the bed. It's my safe space, but this time I had to take it to the streets and ask a masculine in real life some questions about what we've been talking about, y'all, because usually I talk to the goddesses about these types of things, but I wanted to get a male perspective. So I got some questions for you.
Yeah.
And I just ask you to be honest and let me know what you think. You know what I mean? It's a safe space. Okay, so a lot of times I'm talking to my goddesses about spiritual relationships, and I've got this term spiritual situationships. Mm-hmm. And spiritual situationships is when you're having like this really divine connection with someone, and maybe like you're seeing 1111 all the time, or you're like seeing all these signs, but then in the 3D, like it's not vibing, but you're trying to convince yourself that it is, because in the 5D you got all these signs, but in the 3D it's like you getting red flags left and right. Have you ever experienced that? Do you believe that exists? Like, what's your perspective?
Well, first I'll say is that when it comes to the spiritual community, a lot of people are delusional in relationships. And, I used to be like that. Okay. I used to be like that myself.
Oh, he's called himself out. Go ahead. Accountability.
But when I realized that, I just started to just see people for who they are now and start to like save myself and and tell people, like, because people are so optimistic and they got all this Neptunian energy in their chakras, and in their crown chakras especially. So when they are dating somebody, they're like, oh my gosh, and they like, they see all these angel numbers, and it's so easy to manipulate somebody with the spirituality, because people people call me a twin flame and soulmate, and be like, oh, this takes you at 555.
Oh my gosh, the 1111 text that night, y'all.
It's actually people.
That's like the spiritual F-boy booty call, 1111.
Yeah. Oh my God. and you'll see, like, it's actually easier to manipulate somebody who's spiritual than it is in the Matrix. Like, it's easy to manipulate a spiritual man or a spiritual woman, because all you got to do is just have word crystals. You know what I'm saying? Text them at 444. And call them your twin flame, and be optimistic and act like you spiritual. We're spiritual, and that's why a lot of us fall for it. But now I just feel like being realistic, and you guys got to have a mental, physical attraction.
Yes,
it shouldn't be. I'm not saying people gonna always clash, but it shouldn't be like y'all clashing 4 times a day.
No, there shouldn't be crazy red flags. Like he's talking crazy at you, but you keep seeing 1111, so you stay. Because you're like, oh, he's my twin flame, so I should just tolerate this disrespect. Or he's running out in the streets doing all the things.
Yeah.
So you said us, right? So it sounds like you've had this from like a feminine, like as a man, you've felt like, because I believe there's definitely a thing called spiritual fuckboys, spiritual F-boys. But I'm wondering, for you as a man, have you experienced like the equivalent of that from females? And like, what is that like for you?
Yeah, I definitely met a promiscuous spiritual woman. Okay. She's from New York, and that's kind of like, like that's
you know who you are, girl.
Yeah, that's honestly the energy that she carried, and she was very obvious with it. Like, hey, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly think it's even worse when people are spiritual and they are, sleeping around everywhere, because it's just like, that energy exchange is real. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you could do all the cord cuttings you want, but it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's like eating McDonald's and detoxing, eating McDonald's and detoxing. Why are you doing all this stuff to your body? Why not just, there's nothing wrong with dating and stuff, but why you gotta sleep with them?
Right.
Like, and like I said, we got free will, but when you start doing it, like, you might catch something. People catch stuff every day. You might catch something.
Physical or energetic too.
Yeah. What do you mean energetic?
Like, you could catch energy. I think there's plenty of energetic, like
a sexual demon?
Yeah. I
forgot they call it like a STD. They call it a sexual transmitted demon.
I've never heard of that, but that's hilarious. Thank you for bringing that term to my awareness.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
No, because it is. It's like you can become a succubus. You can become someone that's like I don't know, like a nymphomaniac is, I believe, like a misalignment. It's like you've opened your energy up so much sexually that now you're like addicted to sex, or you're addicted to that type of intimacy, and you're not actually, because I have a podcast called Sex and Synergy, which is all about like making sure there's actual synergy with someone before you have sexual encounter, and understanding the energetics behind every kind of sensuality or sexual experience. And a lot of the STDs that you're talking about, the demons, is like
demons.
Yeah, you're interacting with energy and you're interacting with the astral realm while you're in those intimate experiences. So whatever spirits that you're opening to in that person and in the astral are going to be more likely to attach to you if you don't have discernment.
Wait. So I do know about this. So you're saying when you are actually having sexual energy exchange, you are active in the astral realm.
Oh, for sure. That's one of the most active spaces in our experience in life, because what we're doing is, first of all, you completely let go of the mind, which is like meditation, right?
Right.
Very, very opening of a portal. And then you're also in bliss, which is also one of the highest frequencies that you can be in.
Okay.
And so that ecstasy, that bliss activates even more connection to the astral realm. And then you're often in flow. You're in complete flow with that person.
Yeah.
So you're intuitive with your movement. You're intuitive with how you're experiencing that, and then the actual like chemical and electric connection is a chi exchange. It's a prana. It's your life force energy. And if you know anything about like the Magdalene Manuscript or like the sex magic of Isis,
like I've seen that one.
Your ka body and your ba body, like there's an electromagnetic exchange, and that's part of what creates not just the experience but a potential life. So it's literally a portal to another world. That is your favorite way of manifesting is through the O method, like a lot of people are calling it.
What is it called?
The O method, like the orgasm method. So you like manifest through orgasm, which is cool, but you can do that on your own. You don't have to do that by like opening yourself up to somebody else's energy that you might not even know and that you don't know what they're attached to.
So do you find yourself seeing more men do this, women do this?
More women for sure. Yeah, and I think it makes sense because women are like the portal of creation in a lot of ways. So their womb literally generates that frequency, so it makes sense. Men a lot of times when they're experiencing orgasm or like ejaculation or seminal retention, like they know that when they emit that frequency, they usually like it's like kind of you're draining yourself a bit. So it's like you have to be a little bit more aware of it as a man. But I'm not a man, so you probably have more advice on that. But
yeah, I've seen some women, they do it by themselves. You know what I'm saying? They say, but of course they have to know how to actually manipulate.
Yeah, you have to know the meditations. You have to know the frequency. You know how to build it. Like it can be definitely something that can be abused and mistreated.
Do you feel like a person, you know, there's a saying like sexually a person, in order for them to really be good at it, they have to do it to themselves?
Yeah.
You believe that?
For sure. I agree. I totally agree. You have to know yourself in order to be able to connect with somebody else.
They'll clash with, you know, I'm big on semen retention. That'll clash with a lot of guys who practice. They say like, nah, you never touch yourself, and you know what I'm saying?
It's like extreme.
Yeah. I started off.
Well, that can actually be physically damaging to a man. And energetically, if you do that for too long.
Yeah, I could see that because I know, like, for instance, if I do it for a very long
crazy.
time,
like men can go crazy. Like it's a literal thing.
Yeah.
And I think women have it too.
I know one dude who told me he was on semen retention, and he told me he just want to punch a wall. And I'm the same way. When I go in there, I just like
you gotta know when to like
the smallest
let
thing,
yourself release, y'all. You can't just be doing too much, okay? Because everything can be extreme.
Yeah, because I was watching BDL 1014, and he was basically telling me that, you know, your semen, your seed is part of your Kundalini energy. So Kundalini energy is linked to dragon energy. So when you hold it for a year, I think it was 2-3 years, it starts to transform into first a snake and then a dragon. Yeah. So you're walking around with this dragon aura-like energy, and dragons are extremely powerful.
Yeah, and they can be very damaging too.
Very powerful. Yeah, they blast fire. So you are, and also semen retention builds up your fire element too. I did research on that. So when you're on semen retention, you're building up your fire. If you have like no fire placements, semen retention builds up that fire in you.
How should a divine masculine show up in dating and also in partnership?
He should show up as a teacher. I feel like that's the main thing. And that's why I feel like, you know, sometimes if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, the man has to be somewhat older, just because he you know what I'm saying, he could teach her more. If she's older than you, bro, it's like she ain't gonna naturally, she like, I only live a little longer than you. So you got to be older than her. You got to be more wiser than her. You got to have more experience. That's what I see a lot of like relationships work out, is when the man has more experience. If she has way more experience,
to lead, so that he can lead.
Right. Because a woman, like, at the end of the day, like, a woman has to have respect for the man for it to work out. She's not gonna have respect for you if you've never been in a fight, if you never got a lot of women, if you never really done, if you never got like you gotta like learn all the skills.
If you know how to do things, like you know how to, you got to teach me something, 100%.
Yeah, even whatever it is, the man has to have wisdom and experience. I wouldn't say wisdom, but some type of experience or something to teach. But I feel like his main goal is to teach her. And teaching obviously comes with building. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be like, oh, he's supposed to protect her. He's supposed to build her. Those are obvious. You know, we already know he's supposed to protect her. But the main things, I feel like, especially...
They don't always know that. Really? I will tell you that. They do not always know that.
Well, let me ask you, what does protection look like?
Yeah, so when I think about like how a divine masculine gets to show up for a woman in any way, I do believe that like protection, like some of the hottest things a man has done is like when I'm walking across the street, we're walking together, like looking both ways for me, putting his hand on my back and like walking with me to make sure that we like cross the street safely, making sure I stand away from the street on the sidewalk and he's on the edge of the sidewalk, right? Like those kind of things. And also just like physical fitness. Like I want to know that my man can like get in a fight. If squash the bug. Do you know how many times I've had a man scream from a spider? I said, let me get it.
Wow. No. Well, what kind of men was you dating?
Well, not anymore. Okay, that was my past self. I've evolved, y'all. This is why we're having the conversation, because I know a lot of goddesses out there need this work.
Yeah, okay? I think those things are apparent when
strategy is a protection. Like being able to strategize a problem and like be like, okay, let's avoid this issue by doing it this way. Or I love that idea, babe. You're so intuitive, you're so creative, great ideas, but let's like refine it with some structure and order so that we avoid these issues and we know how to tackle it and make it the most prosperous possible. Like I love that. Financial protection doesn't have to be like you're paying for everything, but knowing about finances or better ways to build finances or an empire is great.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I'm glad you brought up finances.
Yeah.
When it comes to finances, there's something called financial manipulation.
Yes.
Now they say a woman, when she dates a man and he got all the money, but she got zero money, 9 out of 10 times he's going to manipulate her financially.
Absolutely.
Because now,
and the woman might want that. Like a lot of guys out there, y'all trying to look for like a little zaddy vibe, but trust me, because you will absolutely be taken advantage of, and there will be a power over your head and a thumb on your body, like holding you down because you don't even have money to pay for. Like you can't leave. You can't get your own place. So now you're stuck in whatever he's giving you, however he's treating you, and all of these things.
And there'll be certain women that I've talked to, and they'll tell me like, that's why they like to have money for themselves. Absolutely. And it's smart because she said like her mom specifically, they don't like that shit. They want to be in a relationship to where, okay, if they leave, he don't gotta be like, they don't gotta go to the man and be like, okay, please can I have this, please can I have this. That's manipulation. Financial manipulation is not talked about. Yeah. And I think
you don't have sovereignty. You're giving your power away.
Yeah.
So of course, if you're giving your power away, you're allowing yourself to be manipulated. Not all men will do that, but because a man is naturally a conqueror, I think that naturally they may be enticed to do that without even realizing it.
Naturally,
Like, I can get whatever I want now.
I think both parties got to have something to spend or something to do for themselves. Like, there should always be a level of independence in a relationship. Yes. And that's because y'all are together, but, let's say he wants to travel, and, let's say he's saving up or this and that. Yeah. And, you are, you need something. Yeah. And you can't spend it yourself. Now it's like, so he can also manipulate you and be like, I'm not going to give you money until you do this. Right. That happens all the time.
Right. Or now that I gave you money, remember when I did that? Like, now you got to do this. And then you don't even know until later. I had a lot of that in my past.
So I feel like people got to respect women who do get money by themselves, as long as they can tap into their feminine energy and enter a relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. I respect women who get money by themselves and they don't mind being, a businesswoman.
Yeah. And that's for me, I've been that way, but I've had a lot of men that were also like, I ended up being the bigger breadwinner. And then that was also awkward because it's masculinizing for them. Yeah. And then I lose a little respect too, if you can't match my hustle. So I definitely think the leadership quality and like teach me how to make more money. I want you to make the same amount or more than me. So I can feel inspired and know that you got us as well in case like I get pregnant and I want to take a couple months off or something whatever. So from that perspective, just to wrap it up, feminine. So how do we think that the feminine should be showing up in those types of interactions, dating and partnership? What's your perspective?
as far as I feel like a woman, she definitely got to come up more like a student, you know, in a way, like you said, like it's a teacher-student aspect.
Be inquisitive, be curious.
Yeah, she has
be
to be
open-minded.
Right. She has to be humble. Like meek humbleness, that is really what makes like a relationship work when it comes to the woman's side, the woman's work. Is the more humble she is, then it's like all that means is her not talking about her ego all day. You know what I'm saying? A woman's like, oh, me, ego, like that turns a man off, and it really makes a man like, okay, like this is like masculine.
It's not showing that she's a nurturer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just more so like keeping the meekness to yourself when it comes to a woman. We used to see it back in the 70s and the 80s with our moms or our grandmas, and now it's just like we don't see it as much. We see the woman, you know, very got inflated egos now. So that inflated ego and, you know, the power, we see a lot of power struggles. It's like it's
not knowing
scary.
how to submit.
Right.
Yeah.
It's scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think women definitely get to show up as nurturer and like study your man, observe your man, anticipate his needs. Like you can tell he's tense, give him a back massage. You can tell that he's hungry, or like, you know, this is around the time he gets hungry, make him a fucking sandwich. And it's not that you're being like super submissive and that you're like groveling to this man. It's that you are taking ownership of your intuition and your ability to nurture, because he's also taking ownership of his ability to create structure and provide and lead. So how can you nurture him so he has enough energy to lead? I think that's super important. And I think also like women being able to help the man become more vulnerable. Like, oh, it looks like you're stressed. Do you want to talk about it, babe? Or like, oh, I have this vision for you, or you're telling me your vision for business and I actually see this for you. And like being the cheerleader, like those types of things are so important for a man. So